Hey everyone, Russ of Aquarimax here. Take this lid off. I want to show you. We've got all three froglets morphed out. The one on the right is obviously the oldest one. A couple months old now, I think, as far as morphing goes. And then the one in the middle is several weeks old, maybe almost a month old. And then this one here on the left is very, very new indeed. It just morphed out in the last week or so. Oh, so sitting on your siblings is okay now? I don't think so. Here, thank you. All right. So, in just a moment here, once we get a few people in the house, I'm going to start feeding them. We'll see if they'll eat for us, especially when I get those little ones eating some springtails. Primetime gecko in the house. Awesome. Switching over to live chat to make sure everybody can get in there. I might have to put it on slow chat later, but for now, everybody's in. I see there are 5 people in the house. That's awesome. It's amazing how much some of these look like their parents. And it's interesting to see the development of the color as they get older. They're very dark when they first morph out, almost like a dirty yellow, and then brightens up pretty fast. They have a hard time walking or hopping around when they first morph. It's like they don't have developed strength in their limbs, which kind of makes sense. And then they finally get going again. Hey, Robert Gear, made it to a live stream. Nice to see you here. Looks like we've got 9 people in the house. Nice. Alice and Rendon, wow, they're bigger than I thought they would be. Well, let me see if I can give you an idea of how big they are. I'm not going to touch them, of course, because that's not good. Here is my index fingernail. And you can get an idea. Small enough it could fit right on top of my index fingernail. And this one is probably just a tiny bit bigger. I don't know. It's pretty much the same size, really. They don't really start shooting up in growth until they start eating the fruit flies, and these 2 younger ones are not big enough to do that. The bigger one is gulping down fruit flies like there's no tomorrow, but the others are not really onto that yet. Michael Seal, oh, you're welcome. Glad you're enjoying them. This one looks like it may be in the mood for hunting. I'm just going to drop some in and see how they do. Here comes some springtails I just harvested a minute ago. Let's see. Oh, I don't want this one to be hiding. He's like finding a place to hide out when he should be eating for the camera, hopefully. So let's see what we get. Sprinkle a few springtails his direction. Oh, there he goes. Is he going to go for any more? Can't possibly be full after just one. Maybe he's camera shy, I don't know. I'm just going to dump a ton in there. I'll put some over here for these guys too. See how they do. Okay, sorry, I'm just sprinkling out the last of the springtails and I'll start answering chat again. That's pretty much all I put in there. So, focus. See if I can make it so you can see what's going on, and back to the chat. And Allison Rendon says, are these daytime frogs? Yeah, they are diurnal frogs. They're generally very active when they're fed. They're also active at various other times of the day. The males call during the day mostly, although they'll call in the evening too. And yeah, very, very active frogs. These are one of the boldest species of dart frogs that you can see, that you're likely to see. There are a couple of others that are comparably active during the day and comparably bold, but this is one of the top dart frogs for boldness. So there you go. Julia says, got to get some frogs for myself sometime. Watching them hunt is always a blast. It is indeed. And I don't know if you can tell with these little guys so much, but with the adults, it's really, really easy to see their toes tap when they hunt. It's really funny too. They're tapping in a very excited manner. It appears that they're doing it out of excitement. I don't know really why they're doing it, but it's fun to watch. Aaron Staska says, any other dart frog species you're hoping to get? Yeah, I would like to get, I would like to do thumbnails sometime. I'm not sure which species, but they they're not a whole lot bigger than this one at adult size. They're a little bigger, but not a whole lot bigger. And then, so that would be fun. I also want to get Azureus sometime. Just a cobalt blue frog. That would be really fun. That is probably the species I would have purchased if I had decided to purchase one. I got these kind of as a gift. So, but I love these too. And 401 Movie says, nice, how many times these young can be raised in this tank before transfer in the definitive terrarium? Thanks. I would say the one on the left is getting to the point where I could put it in a terrarium. It's about the size that mine were when I got them and put them in the 20-gallon high that they were in for a couple of years. And I would give these other two a couple months. Once they start eating fruit flies and really grow, I would do it. But, you know, it just depends really more on size and so on. So yeah, this one on the left, the bigger one, is already ready. He's a couple months old. Okay, that one is being run over. It's so pretty. Can you show their tank? Well, right now they're just in a very, very large deli cup, a jumbo deli cup. I've drilled holes in it and I've put some breathable tape around so that they can breathe, and they've got a layer of ABG mix with some leaf litter on top of it, which is fine for them for now. But you know, definitely they're going to be needing to be in a larger enclosure as soon as possible. I'm going to have to find a new home for them because I don't have space for any more of these. Let's see. So this is their enclosure for now, just a grow-out enclosure for the time being. But I'll show everybody the other enclosure too, if I can. Thing is, my daughter's in the other room practicing the clarinet, and it's loud, and I don't want you to have to deal with that. But Supreme Gecko, Wally's in the house. Would love to see their tank too. Very cool looking dart frogs. Thank you. So yeah, that's all they're in for right now, and it's adequate for the time being, but it's of course not a permanent home. They'll need about 10 gallons for a permanent home per frog. So like I have my trio in a 29 gallon, which is about right, especially since I made sure that there's a lot of space along the back and sides that they can climb up on and everything. So there's plenty of surface area that they use in there, but yeah, about 10 gallons per frog is the rule of thumb. I'm gonna go ahead and cover this up because I think some of you might want to see their other tank, and I'm gonna try. So seal this up and switch to the view with me. Sorry, this is going to be weird for a minute. I'm going to try not to put my thumb in front of the camera. Sorry about that light in the background. That's not so fun, is it? And we're going to do a little bit of traveling. And ooh, I'm going to have to grab a paper towel to wipe down. There's a little condensation on the tank. And let me know, everyone, if this gets too loud. And I'll go back into the other room. But I just want to give you a quick look at the dart frog vivarium and what's going on in there. But just let me know if the clarinet is loud enough that you can't hear what I'm saying or something like that, because the microphone's going to cut some of it, but I just don't know how much. This is the tank. I just kind of quickly wiped down the glass. So, oh, Armanista Pate is in here. Awesome. Okay, welcome. Okay, so this is the tank, the dart frog tank with the adults in it. You can see I've got some Java moss here in the left-hand corner. Over here is a philodendron, and then there are a couple of different Neoregelia bromeliads there. Some more Java moss up there. Over here I've got some rabbit's foot fern. Okay, it's not too bad. Okay, yeah, and I think she's fine. She's far enough away that I don't think this is bugging her, but yeah, but thank you. This is my Selaginella. I'm going to show you some of these things from the top. I love Selaginella, it's such a cool plant. And then lemon button fern. This little mini orchid, I think I'm going to have to move. It's not doing so hot in here. I don't think it's getting enough air movement. You can see a little pocket of moss or two back there, up against there. And this other bromeliad that is sending out a nice little pup. And that's growing. And it is indeed clarinet in the background. My daughter's playing the clarinet. I'm going to show you some moss. There's some moss right in the center of the screen, right by the bromeliad leaf that I introduced from a piece of cork bark that's starting to grow there. And then back here, right behind the rabbit's foot fern, is some kind of moss. that is doing some fun things. It kind of looks like sphagnum moss to me, but I'm not sure what that is. But it just spontaneously started growing, and I'm pretty happy that it's there. And then, of course, there are a patch or two. Here's a little bit of Java moss that's growing on the leaves. Ended up falling down there and growing. So yeah, that's basically the vivarium. The frogs are not out and about right now, but there you go. And Aaron says that is live sphagnum moss. That's what I was thinking it might have been. So yeah, thank you for the confirmation. And oh, Dr. Spud's in the house too. And now I'm going to switch around. Oh, cleanup crew, Primetime Gecko. I have put several different types of isopods in here. I think I started out putting powder blues in. And they're one of my favorite all-around cleanup crews, but they're not doing so hot in here because I think there's not enough ventilation. And so I think I ended up putting some, let's see, there are dwarf striped in here, and there are also isopoda species Tarragona. Let's see if we can just dig up a little bit. I'm going to try to zoom in just to touch on the substrate, and we'll see if we can unearth anybody. There's some springtails in here, of course, too. I'm not seeing anybody. Oh, you can see a couple of little bugs stirring around there, but I want to see if we can get a good look at some. I don't know if you can see anything from what's going on here or not. A couple of springtails I can see. Last time I was digging around in here, I saw some dwarf striped isopods right up near the surface. Not a whole lot going on right now, though. Let's see. Okay, well, I better restore the substrate here. More or less, that's pretty decent. I didn't bury that moss, did I? No, the moss is okay. All right, that'll do. I'm going to switch back now and go in the other room, so you'll be able to hear me better, and I'll be able to concentrate better because I won't have, clarinet music going on. So switch that. Sorry, you'd have to just stare at my face for a minute, but we'll take care of that soon enough. Okay, so I'm going to switch you over to the tripod so it's easier for everything to go down. You get better video quality, of course, too. Let me see. That is not too bad. How's the lighting? Do I need to adjust that? It looks a little bright. I'm kind of under the lights, but if that doesn't bother you, then we won't worry about it. So the vivarium, Supreme Gecko asks, how long has the vivarium been set up? Well, off the top of my head, I can't remember exactly how long, but it was a summer project. We finished it in the summer. I'd have to go back and check on my videos and see how long it's been set up, but we started it, well, the early stages of it, we started a long time before the summer, but we did most of the heavy work in the summer and finished it up during the summer. So I think I'm going to say August is when I think we finally got it set up and added the frogs. Not entirely sure about that, though. All right. So I was digging around in the Hoffmannsegei culture or colony and saw the two oranges again. Still not entirely sure that they are Hoffmannsegei or if they're Spanish isopods. I wish Spanish orange. I don't know. We'll see. Gotta let them grow for a little longer. And Elaine Smith says, love the background music. Awesome. What's in those little cups on that shelf? That is an order going out. Let me pull a couple of these. Take a look at it. Hopefully I can make it work on the camera. Let's see. Oh, I can't do it that way. I have to do it this way. There we go. There's some zebra isopods. Oh, don't take a dive. Somebody's coming over to pick up some various isopod and springtail species. Got some powder blues in there. And the springtails, I don't think you'd be able to see the springtails on the camera, but yeah, that's what's going on back there. Okay. 2 Thamnocephalus platyurus mysteriously appeared in my plastic tubs with apple snails in it. I have never put fairy shrimp in there, so I don't know how they got there, but they're welcome here. Cool. Isn't Thamnocephalus platyurus, is that the beaver tail? Isn't that beaver tail shrimp? the really big fairy shrimp. I love those. Those are like my favorite, probably. Tenulita, hey, welcome. Let's see. There we go. Oh, hold on, everybody. I'm going to check something out. I'll be right back. I'm actually still here. I haven't gone anywhere. What I want to do is give you a chance to check out. Sorry, I'm bent over and it's making my voice sound rather strange, isn't it? Oh, come on. I'm trying to turn on the light in my multi-aquarium so maybe you can catch a glimpse of the growing fry. Just a second. Might as well give you a chance to look at that. Yeah, sounds really weird because I was all bent over and that made it really bizarre. Yep, okay. So now you should be able to see some fry. Let's do it. Oh, why not? Oh, don't want to sit on my phone. That's never good. Okay, so let's settle down here for just a second. Oh, fry. Popping out immediately. Check it out. There are... suddenly turned into an Oompa Loompa. Yeah, that's what I get for bending over like that. Contorting myself, contorting my vocal cords. Sometimes I do it on purpose, but not that time. And so Dr. Spud says, yeah, they're beaver tail fairy shrimp. It's above 80 degrees in there, so they've grown about 3 times larger than they were yesterday. Yeah, that never ceased to amaze me how fast those things grow. They like double their size almost every day for a long time. And they get, what is it? It's like over 2 inches long. They're big shrimp. I remember encountering those for the wild the first time, and I was just flabbergasted by them. I was in California in a vernal pool out in California up in the mountains, actually. I was so surprised. And the fact that they noticed me and evaded my attempts to capture them was also surprising, because most fairy shrimp don't seem to care what you're doing. They don't seem to notice you. Paint him orange and dye his hair green, then we'd have rusty Oompa Loompa. Supreme Gecko says, was going to be my next question. How are the multis doing? They look great. Yeah. Thank you, Wally. I've really been having fun with it, watching all the fry grow. We'll see if we can see the 2 fry that are over in this nest. There's one of them popping out. Oh, there's the other. You can see them both. Nice. Yeah, I think that's what I should have done. It makes the focus better there, I think. But yeah, they're doing great. I'm waiting to see if I'm not sure. I think I may have seen a new fry in one of the other shell beds, but I'm not sure if it was a new fry or not. And then there's just one fry over here, I think. So I've been able to tell, the oldest one is shyer than some of these others, probably because there's only one of them here in this shell bed. But yeah, I've been feeding them lots of microworms. The fry love the microworms. They're always popping out when I give them the microworms. And Allison Rendon says, how different is it to have dart frogs compared to tree frogs? Well, I've only kept, besides the dart frogs, I've kept a few different types of frogs and toads, but as far as tree frogs, I've only kept green tree frogs, the American green tree frogs, not like the Australian green tree frogs, but they are, I would say, the green tree frogs they eat larger foods, they are more nocturnal, they tend to be less active in the daytime. But other than that, they're fairly similar. I mean, the habitat's different too. The green tree frogs are more arboreal, so they will like the vertical space a little bit more than the dart frogs do. And yeah, that's kind of what I would say. They don't need to be kept. A little bit more ventilation is beneficial for them. They don't need to be kept with quite the humidity. They like humidity. They like a pool, but there are a few things. Elaine Smith's asking, how's the millipede? So maybe, are you talking about a specific species, or the new millipedes that I got, or what? Just curious. I'd be happy to give you an update on those. I'm just wondering if you just mean millipedes in general, or you've got a specific species in mind. So, Supreme Gecko says, what live foods do you feed the multis other than brine shrimp? Well, honestly, live-wise, I haven't been giving them a lot of brine shrimp. I give them the decapsulated, the cooked decapsulated eggs. I give of brine shrimp. But live food wise, I give them, of course, lots of microworms, and the adults eat those too. I give them Daphnia, because the Daphnia culture is right over here, all green as it should be. And you can see, possibly you can see a few of them darting around in there from here, I don't know. And then lots of scuds. They eat scuds like anything. So they usually get scuds probably 5 times a week or something like that. I don't know exactly. They get Daphnia and they get the microworms. So those are the live foods that I give them most often. Let's see, who else is? All right. And Corn Mike says, where'd you get the snail shells? The snail shells were from, I've bought them on Amazon. There's actually a really good deal from a particular vendor. And I believe I can't remember the name of the vendor, but the Roland is the brand. And if you go to my most recent multi-feeding video, and actually probably most of my multi-feeding video, I have a link in the description where you can actually buy them. And it's a bag of 36 shells, and it's like between $12 and $14, so it's a really good deal. It's better than most that you will find. And I purchased about 4 bags of these. I obviously haven't put them all in here. I have something like a bag and a half of them still to put in here. But what I'm thinking I will do, and I want to see what everybody thinks, but I think will do is reduce the amount of sand in here, because they don't need this much. And then I'm going to put some rocks for some visual barriers between territories. Put a few rocks in there. Maybe put some plants. I'm still deciding. There aren't that many live plants that'll do well in here, but I was thinking maybe putting some Vallisneria or some fake Vallisneria. I'm not sure. And then going to put in a ton more shells, because the fish are obviously reproducing and they need some more shells in there. They will soon anyway. And Somebody says, you hear tree frogs call all night. That's probably true. And there's a lesson to learn from that message. Check your messages before you send them, so apple snail, for example, doesn't come out as application pole snarf pail. Ooh, but I love that. It's a good name for a band. We should go with it. But I think you're right. And Primetime Gecko says, red-eyed tree frogs look like chewed up gum when sleeping. They kind of do. I never thought of that. But yeah, they do. So Elaine Smith says, all the millipedes. Okay, cool. Well, my ivory millipedes are coming out. They were sort of, I don't want to say roommating, but they were not very active for a little while, but they're becoming more active again. So actually, I want to show you that. It's over here, just a second. I'm going to pull those out, okay? So I'm going to hang you up here on the wall, not on the wall, on my tripod for just a minute so that I can grab the millipedes. Some of them anyway. So there we go. Sorry, I know it's not fun to stare at the wall like that. Hopefully you'll be able to see these clearly, but here we go. Before they all decide to hide, you can see a few adults on the surface. There's one of my females there. There's a male. There's another female. And there's another male. And you can see only 4 of the adults on the surface right now, which is, that's not bad for just pulling it open, and you don't necessarily see a ton of them, but I don't see a lot of babies at the surface right now. Usually there's some babies kicking around, so I'm trying to see if I can, oh, sorry, I just totally upset that millipede. Turned it upside down, sorry. You can see a ton of springtails, but there are probably 40, 50 babies in there, something like that. So, sorry, I'll come back to the chat. So, okay. Allison Rendon said, I have whites tree and American tree frogs, but I want to get into dart frogs. What is the difference in tanks? Well, the main differences that I can think of is that you're not going to necessarily put a water pool in your dart frog tanks unless you're breeding them. You're going to want to go bioactive, but you probably want to do that with the other tree frogs too. You can get away without doing it, but with dart frogs you pretty much need to go bioactive. Like I said, the vertical space is something. Dart frogs like it, especially if you build up like cork bark and other kinds of background that they can climb on. But they're not going to climb straight up branches or anything so much as other tree frogs will. So that'll be a difference. And the humidity levels probably be a bit different too, because white tree frogs especially probably benefit from more ventilation than dart frogs do. They need some, but not a ton. And Worm Band-Aid said, would Marimo mosses be good for that tank? Not sure of the temps. Good question. I'm not sure if Marimo moss balls would do well in there or not. It is about 78 to 80 degrees in there, and that is, I don't know how that would do. I've never really messed with Marimo balls. I've kind of wanted to, but I never have, so good question. Hey, Mark Osborne's in the house. And Nature Zone says, how much money are your millipedes? Depends on the species, but about $6 for ivory when I have enough babies that are big enough to sell. I do about $6 each. And it's about the same for bumblebee millipedes. And then I'm not selling any of the other species yet because they're not breeding yet, but yeah. Okay, let's see. Sorry, still catching up. Corn Mike's in the house. Pokesaur's in the house. Genulita says, I missed the little gecko you had with you the last stream I was here. Yeah, maybe I'll pull him out if he's is awake. We'll see if he wakes up, if I have enough time. I mean, I guess I only have a couple more minutes. Worm Band-Aid says, how can you tell if they're male or female? Let's see. Let's take a look. This is a female. You can tell, sorry, the lighting kind of went off on me. Up here near the head, you see how all the bands after that first big band are pretty much uniform in size and shape. This one, on the other hand, oh man, the lighting is so bad right now. Just a second. See if I can fix the lighting. Oh, yeah, that's terrible. Just a second. I'm still here. I haven't left. I'm just trying to improve the lighting. That's considerably better, isn't it? Yes, I think that will help. Okay. Yes, that is much better lighting. So again, this one is a female. You can see after that first thick band, they're all about uniform. And this one has a saddle, they call it. Oh, now he's curling up, so I can't see it. But it's a much wider band up near his head. With this species, that's the easiest way to tell. Not all species are like that, but with the ivory millipedes, it's super easy to tell that way. Let's see. So, oh, Supreme Gecko, thank you, Wally. Nobody hit the like button. Maybe the like button's broken because I'm not seeing any likes yet. I would love to hit the like button. Maybe people are hitting it and it's just broken. I'm going to go with that because that makes me feel better. That it's just broken and people are trying to click it furiously. It's not working. Dr. Spud says, here's a tip for every invertebrate ever. Keep them very warm and shove as much food in their faces they will eat and they will grow much faster. Well, for a lot of them, that really works. You just have to be careful with the warmth-sensitive species, but yeah, there are a lot of species. You find that temperature, their target temperature, and then feed them a lot. That does generally tend to help. Corn Mike says, love them. Used to have a giant Asian millipede. Oh, I love Asian millipedes. I've had one or two species. I've had the flame legs from the Philippines. Loved those. Wish I still had them. Dr. Spud says some of my smaller apple snails double in size in just a couple of weeks. They're like the rodents of invertebrates. Yeah, they will grow fast if they get enough food. It's true. Primetime gecko, how many generations would you go through before you put wild isopods in your setup? Probably 3. I think that's what I would do. Allison Rendon says, yes, I am bioactive. Dart frogs are hard to keep. Our dart frogs are hard to keep, as I have heard. They're not that difficult. Actually, they're pretty easy. I would say that dart frogs are one of the easiest critters that I keep, honestly. And part of the reason is because they, once you got their setup going, their setup is not easy to make, okay? But once you've got their setup going, it's a little bit expensive to put together, and it's involved to put together. I'll be honest about that. But once you got it going, it is easy. They are super easy to take care of, as long as you don't mind breeding fruit flies. So I would say if you're interested in keeping frogs, I mean, they're not going to be harder than the other ones once you've got their setup going. That would be my estimation of it. And Mark Osborne says, wow, 16K subs, and to think I subbed before it was cool. That's true. Mark has been a great supporter of Aquarimax for a long time. So thank you, Mark. And yeah, thank you everybody for 16 1,000 subscribers. Yeah, you know what? I think people are hitting the like button. It's just not showing up on my end. I don't know what you guys are seeing, but I'm not seeing any likes at all. So that's weird. But hey, Mr. Snake is in. Sorry you got the notification so late. That's weird, especially because when I'm posting my videos on Fridays, you're usually one of the first people, often the first person to comment. Hey, Mickey made a live chat. Excellent. Welcome. You can check out my Millipedes. Mickey is a great millipede keeper and breeder. She's got quite a few different species that are doing really well. She's the one I got my Spirostreptus species 1 from. She breeds those as well as quite a few other species. So, Crystal's Pets, hello! Dr. Spud, how's your giant Asian mantis free of evil brain fungus? Yeah, so far. It's been doing well. Just ate, I think it was today that I fed it, this morning, thinking, and it ate the cricket, most of it. So Nature Zone said, Dart Frog's easy, mine passed away. Ooh, sorry to hear that. I wonder what was going on. I think, you know, you can have bad things happen. Everybody can, but hopefully you'll have another chance to try again. Mine have been pretty easy. They're even not that hard to breed, but it partly depends on your species too. I mean, that has a lot to do with it. Stephen is the homeless truth seeker. Hello and welcome. And the Pokesaurus said, I admit the only reason I know about this is because of your son. That's true. Okay, Supreme Gecko says 20 likes so far. Excellent. So that just means they're showing up as 0 on my end for whatever reason, some weird glitch. But we're getting likes on your end, so that's great. As long as they're likes, I don't mind that I can't see them. Thank you for getting the like spike going, Supreme Gecko. And thanks, Mickey. These ivories have a ton of babies, but none of them are at the surface right now. I need to feed. Tomorrow is my bug burger day. My son, sorry folks, my son feeds the Millipedes and Isopods bug burger on Thursdays, and so that usually gets a whole bunch of them up at the surface. Oh, sorry, let me push this button. Let's see. And the Jack Houston says, no worries, you're getting likes. Thank you. And Mr. Snake's getting his axolotl girlfriend. Pokesaurus wants to know how my son is doing. He's actually doing pretty well, but I am waiting to hear more from him. I just got a quick note on Monday. Usually he sends us a message on Monday, and I haven't heard a lot from him this week, but I did hear that he's doing okay, so that's something. Nature Zone says, how do you get morning geckos to breed? Well, once you have, it does help to have more than one, even though they don't need to mate, they don't reproduce sexually. I would say the easiest way to do it is to get a group of them together, give them a ton of hiding places that are high up, and that's how you'll get them to breed. Then you'll eventually get eggs. For me, I don't remember, it was around 8 months old, I think my geckos were by the time they started breeding, but I've heard them breeding as young as 5 or 6. So we'll see. How many do you have? Primetime Gecko says, do you think a reptile enclosure can be too big? I know there are a lot of opinions on this. It's kind of controversial subject, but I would say in some cases, no. In some cases, yes. It depends on the context and what your purpose is and what you're keeping. For example, if you put a baby corn snake in a 100-gallon tank, and there are not enough hides in there, and even if there are maybe, and you only feed it in one side, the baby corn snake could be, uncomfortable. I feel like it has to travel too far to be able to get to the food or things like that. That could be a problem. I've heard that Ron Tremper, who is one of the big leopard gecko breeders, one of the most famous leopard gecko breeders, says that if you keep a leopard gecko, at least a single one, in an enclosure that's too much bigger than, say, 20-gallon long, that they can sometimes have trouble finding places to thermoregulate. So, yeah, I think that can be a problem in some cases. But there are some species where it would be really hard to get too large of an enclosure, like some of the roamers. There are also species that just don't roam very much, and that could be a problem. Or food density can be a problem too. If you had a room-sized enclosure and you had a chameleon and you released crickets in that enclosure, the likelihood that the chameleon would come into contact with those crickets, especially while they're still dusted with those proper supplements, it could be too long and it might not actually eat. You know, kind of like that same thing happens with fish fry. If you are raising, 10 baby bettas in a 50-gallon tank, you have to put a heck of a lot of brine shrimp in there for them to get enough um, in terms of food density. So there are issues like that. So yeah, I think sometimes the enclosure can be too big. Dr. Spud says, how do leopard geckos feel about being in an enclosure with another leopard gecko? A decent large enclosure, of course. Well, males definitely not together. A male and a female can do okay, but I feel like you could have some problems with overbreeding in a situation like that if they're kept together forever. And if you kept female geckos, leopard geckos together, can do well. Some people say it stresses them out, but yeah, they can be okay in that case. Yeah, so Mr. Snake agrees with me there. And Russ says, if you want to get the views, you got to use memes. Well, I did use real isopod hours. Okay, Nature Zone, if you got 2 morning geckos, you will eventually get some eggs then, if you haven't. But yeah, I figured you were probably kidding. So Crystal Pet says, I'm so ready for spring to start getting more into the hobby. Cool. What are you planning on getting? Oh, you know what? I just looked at the time. I've got to go because I've got to go feed the snake, and I've got to probably clean the cricket bin, and I've got to make another video. My first Feeding Friday. So yeah, but I'm with you, Nature Zone. Plants in aquariums, plants in vivariums, they make it a lot more fun. They're beautiful, and they're interesting in their own right. So, all right, everyone. This little ivory millipede, I'm going to let it say goodbye for us. And thanks for joining today. Sorry about the glitches that happened about my weird Oompa Loompa voice. But catch my first Feeding Friday coming up in the next video. Thanks, Supreme Gecko. Glad it was entertaining, and you're very welcome. Oh, Mickey, I'll answer one more question. Okay, aside from Bug Burger Thursday, do you have a regular schedule for the millipedes? Yeah, substrate water is added on Wednesdays. The leaves are topped off once a week if needed, and then food after that's kind of random. So, I'll throw vegetables or fruit, fish food pellets in there and stuff, but kind of randomly. So there we go. All right, thanks, Mickey. That was a great question, and thank you, everyone else.